Okay, in this video I'm going to be talking about my initial ideas for the music video, my changed and developed ideas, and also the song choice and why I chose it. Starting off with the song choice, the song that I am using for the music video is called Call Me in the Afternoon by a band called Half Moon Run. They're a very low-key band from America, and I've seen them live. I'm a very big fan of their music. Their genre is indie rock, and I absolutely love the song. It's one of my favourite songs, and I've loved it ever since I first heard it many years ago. Thinking about my initial ideas, I have changed my idea, and it was quite a drastic change. My original idea was to base the video around drug abuse and excessive consumption of drugs, both legal and illegal. This was purely because the song is actually about drug abuse and about a male who is talking to a female or a friend or a lover, we're not quite sure, about how drugs affect their relationship and how they affect him and her, and how their relationship is around the excessive drug use. I wanted to include some subtle references to consumption of drugs, so smoking, drug taking, alcohol consumption, everything like that, very subtly, but some things were maybe more explicit than others. And I also kind of wanted to very expressively show the different effects of the drug abuse. So, for example, showing a change in behaviour, possibly being quite aggressive or violent. I'm not quite sure how I did want to present it, but I did start to feel that this was quite a challenging thing to represent, especially as at the age I am, I've never experienced drug abuse or what the effects are, and I feel like it was quite a challenge and quite a sensitive topic, and it is quite difficult to represent and replicate something and present something quite expressively, and something that you've never actually experienced. So I felt like I needed to step away from it to get the video at the best it possibly could be. I felt like this was a bit too much of a challenge, and I felt like I didn't want to ruin it or express it in the wrong way. So my new idea is to completely move away from drug abuse, and I'm looking at the idea of routine. So I'm going to explain this, but it's going to be quite long-winded, and I'll try and keep it as clear and simple as I can, but I will write something below to explain it and make it more clear. So basically what I want to have is a male and a female still, and the male character is going to be a very average, very normal character who seems and comes across as very average and just a normal everyday person. So for example, he would get up in the morning, he'd switch his alarm clock off, he'd get up, clean his teeth, eat some breakfast, get dressed, go for a walk, go for a drive, whatever it is that they do, or whatever it is that this person felt like doing, they'd do it, and it would just be as anybody else would do, or how it would stereotypically be seen as being done. Then the female character is going to be the complete opposite. So she's going to wake up in the morning, she's going to turn off her alarm, she'll clean her teeth, and everything will be very surreal and very absurd with what she's doing. So for example, she'll clean her teeth, and it could be with a substance like ketchup instead of toothpaste she could clean her teeth with, and she could sit down at the table while the man pours cereal into his bowl and pours milk and eats cereal just normally. The female could pour something like cotton buds into a bowl and pour orange juice on it and begin to start eating that. And it would be all very surreal and very odd and very weird and confusing. But the idea of the video is that it's kind of expressing and presenting the idea of everybody is the same and not to judge a book by its cover. Especially, we'll see at the end of the video, I'm thinking that the last very few shots, so the last 2 or 3 shots, are going to show the man and the woman coming together. They don't know each other, but it could be they end up sitting next to each other on a bus, on a train, on a park bench, stood next to each other in a shop or something like that. I'm not sure yet. I kind of have the idea on either a bench or a train. but the roles will swap. So for example, the woman would pull out a newspaper and she'd sit there and read a newspaper, and the male would then have a bag on his lap and pull out something like a parrot out of his bag or something. So just something very surreal again. So the roles kind of swap. So it is kind of like, don't judge a book by its cover. Everybody does things in their own way. Everybody is expressive and has their own opinion and interprets things in their own way. And not everybody does things the same, and things are all very stereotypical. And if you don't do that, it's very odd. Which is why people think like, oh my god, if this woman's putting cotton buds into a bowl and is trying to eat it, it's like, what is she doing? Like, that's not normal. Like, you should be eating cereal like you normally would. And it is purely that it's the audience, it's making the audience kind of judge the person, and then realizing at the end that everybody is the same, everybody has that quirky side of them, everybody does things differently, and no matter how they come across, they can have a different backstory or a different sort of feeling or emotion or way of doing something that somebody else may find very absurd and very strange because it's not what they're used to. So I'm not sure if that's very clear, but I will write something below to try and explain it a bit better. But those were kind of my original ideas, and something that I want to develop on, and hopefully it'll go as well as I had planned, and hopefully it will work out. I'm just hoping that I can get the message across. I am thinking of using kind of like split screen on some bits, and then some bits where including like the fast shots over the beat, kind of some longer scenes where the male will be doing something, then a cut to a longer scene of the female doing the same thing, but obviously they are very absurd and very different. So yeah, those are my ideas. I hope you can kind of understand, but as I said, underneath I'll try and write something that is a bit more clearer, hopefully. So those are my ideas, and I'm ready to start putting stuff together and start to filming.